Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Good News Tuesday, so let's see if we can talk about some good things that are happening that is still news. Oh wait, why is it not? Man, I started the music and then the music didn't start. Okay, it's fine. And let's get into our headlines. Today on Before Coffee. Can't read that. Okay. Experts warn against contraceptive myths. Don't use an app.
And that told vital clues for cancer prevention as scientists studied their extraordinary immunity.
Captain gets more than 5 years in prison for role in deadly Danube boat disaster.
And more good Tuesday. Concrete made 30% stronger by adding waste coffee grounds and cutting emissions and mining in the process.
People have weapons, but it's to celebrate. Jantra, the Sudanese keyboardist making wild party music.
Those stories and more on today, which is Situational Awareness Day. So be aware, be very aware on September 26th, 2023 edition of Pour Coffee. Stories.
All right, first story today. Let's talk about how there's contraceptive myths going out there and you should not be listening to social media telling you how to do that. The Medicines Evaluation Board, MEB, warns young women against incorrect information about contraception on social media. The medicine watchdog sees how influencers promote unreliable contraceptive methods or spread disinformation. This is from NOS News. I found out that a woman is actually only fertile for 3 days, and I think it would be a shame to have to take hormones every day for that. It is a statement in a video by a young YouTuber with more than 80,000 followers, in which he explains why she stopped taking the pill. But a woman is not fertile for 3 days per cycle. That is longer, says Chairman Ton de Boer of the MEB. That is already approaching 8 days. Sperm cells can survive in a woman's body for 5 days. To combat this type of misinformation, the Medicines Watchdogs has started a campaign in which the facts and the myths about contraception are listed. Go to a doctor. According to De Boer, for example, social media often emphasizes the side effects of contraception, but these differ per person. If you suffer from this, consult your doctor. A doctor can tell you whether these side effects are part of it or whether there are alternatives you can use. According to the MEB, the consequences of these unscientific statements by influencers is that young women have unwanted pregnancies. Abortion clinics have previously expressed their concern about the number of young women who distrust contraception. This summer, the Dutch Society of Abortion Doctors, NGVA, reported that they are increasingly seeing women who use an app to keep track of when they're fertile and do not use any other form of contraception. And then things sometimes go wrong. It mainly concerns women between the ages of 18 and 28, but we are increasingly seeing younger girls. The increase seems to be associated with so-called hormone phobia, said NGVA Chairman Raina Brethauer at the time. It is not the first time that authorities are expressed concerns about the promotion of natural contraceptive methods. In 2018, doctors already warned against the use of apps such as Ladycomp or Natural Cycle, which use your body temperature to let you know when you become pregnant and when the coast is clear. General practitioner and MEB member Jenica Bello says she heard these methods more and more often in her practice. It's good to get to know your body better, but don't use these methods if you don't want to get pregnant, she says. The chance you will get pregnant is way less than 20%. So, there you go. Everyone out there who can get pregnant, don't just count days, okay? Or count days, but count 5 days additional, because sperm can last 5 days inside. Maybe even longer. I don't know. A month. Have sex once a month if you're gonna be unprotected. There you go.
Oh, and the the dumber people are going to have kids. That's just going to be the fallout from this.
Yep, that's my
and
story.
more kids that are unwanted, more kids that are just like, I have no clue what to do with a kid. Oh, is it my story? Well, that was not good news, but here's some. Bats. We love bats. I know I love them. They're like cute little creatures. They creep everybody out, but to me, it's like, look at his little face. Bats hold vital clues in cancer prevention. A new study shows this from Good News Network, no byline other than that. A new study shows that bats evolved to avoid cancer, and that data may uncover how humans can treat or prevent viruses as well as cancer. A rapid evolution in bats, the only winged mammal, may account for their extraordinary ability to both host and survive infections and even to avoid cancer, and that success is in their genes. Bats are exceptional among mammals for their not only their ability to fly, but also their long lives, low cancer rates, and robust immune systems. The ability of bats to tolerate viral infections may stem from unusual features of their innate immune response, and these characteristics may have implications for human health. For example, by better understanding the mechanisms of bat immune systems that allow bats to tolerate viral infections, researchers may be better able to prevent disease outbreaks from animals to people. Comparative gene analysis of bats and cancer-susceptible mammals may eventually provide new information on the causes of cancer and the links between cancer and immunity. Studies of bats and other organisms complement studies based on mouse models. Mice are more amenable than bats to experimental manipulations, but exhibit fewer characteristics with implications for human disease. In a paper published in Genome Biology and Evolution by Oxford Press this week, researchers used the Oxford nanopore technology's long-read platform and bat samples collected with help from the American Museum of Natural History in Belize to sequence the genomes of two bat species, the Jamaican fruit bat and the Mesoamerican mustached bat. He got a little mustache, apparently. He's a mustache bat. The researchers of Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory in New York carried out a comprehensive comparative genomic analysis with a diverse collection of bats and other mammals. They found genetic adaptations in 6 DNA repair-related proteins and 46 proteins in bats that were cancer-related, meaning that researchers had previously found such proteins suppress cancer. Notably, the study found these altered cancer-related genes were enriched with more than twofold in the bat group compared to other mammals. By generating these new bat genomes and comparing them to other mammals, we continue to find extraordinary new adaptations in arrival and antiviral, and anti-cancer genes, said the paper's lead author, Armin Shibin. These investigations are the first step towards translating research on the unique biology of bats into insights relevant to understanding and treating aging and diseases such as cancer in humans. Founded in 1890 and home to 8 Nobel Prize winners, the not-for-profit Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory furthers biomedical research and education with programs in cancer, neuroscience, plant biology, and quantitative biology. Additionally, funding came from the National Institutes of Health and Simon Center for the Quantitative Biology. So bats are going to get us out. They're going to help us live longer and cure cancer and live forever. And then they're going to teach us how to fly, because they're our winged friends, our winged mammal friends. And when we can fly, we're definitely onto something. We'll be vampires, perhaps. All of us. We'll just be vampires. What a lovely future. You're started.
All right. Fun fact, bats can never get virus infections because they have a really immune system that basically makes friends with viruses. They just live alongside viruses.
That's why they can survive COVID real easily, for instance.
No, it's just all their viruses work this way. Every virus they ever catch, they just... Because the reason why humans die of viruses isn't because of the virus, it's because of the fever. It's your body reacting to it. and
their lungs
bats
fill with
just don't
fluid.
react. They're just like, oh, there's a thing there? Not my problem.
Yeah. Right.
Really
And
interesting.
People treat the fever as it's a symptom instead of just letting it be the fever.
Yeah.
Although treat it as a disease, it is a symptom, but you're supposed to get hot, so cooling yourself off isn't necessarily the right thing to do. Anyway.
Okay.
And you get pneumonia from that. All right.
In some crime, good news on crime, I guess. Captain gets more than 5 years in prison in role in deadly Danube boat disaster. The captain of a river cruise ship who caused an accident on the Danube in Budapest in 2019 has been sentenced to more than 5 years in prison. The cruise ship was carrying a smaller boat. 25 South Korean tourists and 2 Hungarian crew members were killed on that boat. 7 South Koreans survived the collision. Captain Yuri Chaplinsky cruise ship Viking Sign struck the smaller tourist boat Hablini under a bridge in Budapest. It sank within 10 seconds. According to prosecutors, the captain was not operating the ship for at least 5 minutes and did not notice the clearly visible ship Hablini either on radar or in real life. Chaplinsky today expressed regret for the collision. I can't escape for a moment that the memories of this terrible tragedy, he told the court. I can't sleep and I have to live with it for the rest of my life. The captain was also suspected of giving the order too late to rescue the drowning people. He was acquitted for this. So he got sentenced for driving without looking, but there's no proof that he didn't try to save anybody. The Hungarian justice had demanded 9 years in prison for the captain of the cruise ship that caused the accident. The 6-year-old Ukrainian captain is held responsible by prosecutors for disaster because of his reckless behavior. According to them, the smaller boat called Mermaid also had priority. He's also charged with 34 counts of failing to provide assistance. The captain did not pay close attention, did not pay attention to the rudder for several minutes, prosecutors said. The captain also allegedly did not keep enough distance and did not send a radio or sound signals when he overtook the boat. According to prosecutors, he was also involved in an accident in the Netherlands a month earlier, which resulted in several injuries. The captain's lawyer said he was completely devastated by what happened, but argued he did nothing wrong. After the collision on May 29th, the tour boat capsized. There were 33 South Korean tourists on board. 7 of them survived the accident. The 2 Hungarian crew members also died. Weeks after the accident, victims were still recovered, often tens of kilometers downstream. One victim, a South Korean woman, still had not been found at the time of November 28th. I hope she got found at some point. So, that's your little short story on somebody doing bad things and getting put in prison for it. That's the best news I got coming out of Europe.
It's not great news. Wait, I'm
On to
supposed to
your
have
next
good
story.
news. All right. Well, hopefully you got some good news in your third story.
No, it's just culture. So
Just culture. No,
culture
that's
is
good. Okay.
Culture is neutral news, as far as I'm concerned. It's not good or bad. It's just informative.
Sometimes it's bad. Okay. All right. So in good news, more good news day. Concrete made 30% stronger by adding waste coffee grounds. That's right. This is also from a non-byline source, goodnewsnetwork.org. Engineers in Australia have found a way of making stronger concrete by utilizing coffee grounds, giving the roast a double shot at life and reducing waste going to landfill.
Easy joke.
All right, that's the story, just for that joke. The RMIT University team developed a technique that makes concrete 30% stronger by adding waste coffee grounds after it's turned into biochar using their low energy process. Globally, 11 million tons of spent coffee is generated annually. Disposing of organic waste possesses an environmental challenge because it emits large amounts of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, which is 20 times worse than CO2 for the climate. Furthermore, concrete used in construction projects around the world. I'm going to do that again. Stuff projects. Furthermore, concrete used in construction projects around the world requires 50 million tons of natural sand mined every year. Coffee biochar can replace a portion of that sand, which is finite resource, explained research team Professor G. Lee. We're running out. Let's go. We're not exactly running out of sand, are we? The ongoing extraction of the natural sand around the world. Yeah, well, sand is irreplaceable, right? The ongoing extraction of natural sand around the world, typically taken from river beds and banks to meet the rapidly growing demands of their construction industry, has a big impact on the environment. With a circular economic approach, we can keep organic waste out of landfill and also preserve our natural resources like sand, said Lee. The inspiration for our work was to find an innovative way to using large amounts of coffee waste in construction projects rather than sending it to landfills, said Dr. Rajiv Roshand, lead author of the research paper published in the Journal of Cleaner Production. He said, the study is the first to prove that waste coffee grounds can be used to improve concrete, and several local governments battling with the disposal of organic waste have shown interest in their work. They have already engaged us for their upcoming infrastructure projects incorporating prioritized forms of different organic waste. I guess prioritized means turned into little tiny bits. Here, they're going to explain it to us. Pyrolysis involves heating organic waste in the absence of oxygen at 350 degrees Celsius. That's really hot. It's hotter than like my coffee. Yeah. Our research team has gained extensive experience in developing highly optimized biochars from different organic wastes, including wood biochar, food waste biochar, agricultural waste biochar, and municipal solid waste biochar. So you poop. For concrete applications. They didn't want to start this story saying your poop could be concrete. They wanted to make coffee could be concrete. Yes, but they're going to heat up your poop to 350 degrees, turn it into this little dusty particle stuff and mix it with concrete. These exciting findings offer an innovative way to greatly reduce the amount of organic waste that goes in landfill, and that the construction industry could play a role in transforming it into a valuable resource to ensure sustainability. And then it says, watch their video below, which we can link it, maybe. I don't know. That's the end of the story, though.
Watch the video below of them turning poop into concrete.
Well, coffee is the big one, I guess, because there's a lot of coffee waste, and it's just generated, basically, these fast food places make coffee. Starbucks makes a lot of coffee. It's all they do, all day long, creating coffee grounds. That can all turn into this wonderful new material, biochar. And this story is from February of 2021. It says, this brilliant low-income housing in Colombia is made from coffee waste. So they're already 2 years ago making low-income housing from coffee waste in Colombia, where they grow a lot of coffee. Your story.
Yeah.
Your story.
Let's talk about Sudan, but not about wars and dead people and explosions, but instead about the people who are going wild at the party on the keyboards. This is from The Guardian, and it's an interview with by Daniel Dylan Ray. In the first ever interview from war-torn Sudan, Janto explains how he hacked the hardware to create melodies that send dancers into a rapturous frenzy. The name of the Sudanese keyboard player Janto translates to crazy, and sure enough, his gigs are wild. Sometimes a fight will happen and I have to take a break so everyone can calm down, he says. The crowd goes crazy, but I take pride that the energy the music creates lets people have such a good time. During slightly less energized passages, people swarm around him, filming his incredible animated and agile fingers gliding across his Yamaha keys. It was through one such YouTube video that Vic Sohoni, a crate digging obsessive born in India and now living in New York and Bangkok, came across Jantra and set about tracking him down to record him for his label, Ostionado Records. The result is one of the best releases of this year. However, given the civil war that has been raging since April in Sudan, which has left key services such as the Post non-functional, Jantra doesn't even own a copy. He's often without a phone or internet, has never given an interview before. However, a nephew of a colleague linked to Jantra's label lives in the same town, Khadarif, and has been able to get questions to him, translate them, and send them back. Times are tough, Jantra says. You cannot move around the country easily and there are fewer gigs for me. But life goes on. Things are calmer here in Khadarif than they would, but the world should pray for Sudan. Synthesized Sudan, Astro-Nubian electronic Jagarla dance sounds from the Fashgat underground is a collection of very distinct and regional dance music. A riotous concoction of cosmic keyboard wig-outs, loop melodies, chopped rhythms, and lively yet hypnotic beats. Jaglara means improvised, while Fashiga refers to the disputed era in rural Sudan near the border of Eritrea and Ethiopia. It's here you'll find Jantra playing street-side raves, parties, weddings, or hennas, stag do's, or bachelor parties, for hours on end, sending people into a state of rapture. If there's one memory I will take to my deathbed, it will be the party where we went to a small village called Dargug, said Sahoni. Jantra was playing the hypnotic loop, sending people into a literal trance. There's no alcohol there, but people were going crazy. Someone pulled out a sword and he was waving in the air like somebody else pulled out a handgun. He let a shot off, firing a bullet hole into the tent's roof, but the beat was so loud you could barely hear it. No one was fazed by it. This is the kind of frenzy that's being created. People have weapons, but it's to celebrate, not to harm anybody, says Jantra. This energy allows me to keep playing, sometimes up to 8 hours non-stop. His music pours out of powerful custom-built Sudanese sound systems via keyboards that have been customized at a special market to incorporate Sudanese timbres. I make the rhythms, tone, percussion, everything, Jantra says. Everything is on a USB, but if you plug it into a keyboard that has not been made to work for Sudanese music, it will not sound the same. Zahoni may of course be biased, given that his label is releasing the record, but he is bursting with passion about the music coming from this territory. New York, London, Chicago, Berlin, these once great citadels of electronic music are not where the most innovative music is being made, he said. It's being made in places like Sudan, in rural areas, by largely unheralded acts. The making of the record was not without its challenges. The team arrived in the country in 2021 after a military coup, with soldiers in the streets, major roads and bridges blocked, and power cuts for hours at a time. Also, due to Jantra's unique style of playing, sticking him in a sterile recording environment was not going to work. I cannot sit him in a studio and just play, he says. I have to be surrounded by the right crowd. He doesn't have songs per se, instead playing constantly improvised, ever-shifting music. I just play, he says. I never learned to make songs. I just go in and search for melodies. This meant a unique recording approach was required to capture the intensity and spontaneity of Jantra's music, with the crew staying up until 4 a.m. extracting the individual melodic patterns, rhythms, and MIDI data from his keyboard as he performed at places such as the gun-toting Dargug party. While Jantra is still without a vinyl copy, he has managed to listen to it on YouTube. It's an honor, he says. Praise to God that my music can travel outside of Sudan and that people know we are making special things in this country. And according to Sahoni, this is just the beginning. He's got more albums up his sleeve, he says. Every show he plays, he produces new melodies on the fly. He reminds me of the footballer Ronaldo, because every time you saw the man play football, he did something different. He freestyled this way through his entire career. Jantra is the same. Synthesized Sudan, Astro-Nubian electronic Jagarla dance sounds from Fashga Underground is now out on Astancio Records. It's a long album title, but let's go ahead and listen to, a sound of one track here, so we can decide if we like it or not. Let me activate my audio, make sure that we're sharing the audio from, I guess it's not here because it's not playing. I don't know if it's playing. Oh, here we go. I'll put it through my mic, so I think if I put it through my mic, you'll hear it.
I hear it.
You hear it?
Sort of.
Sort of.
It's like it's on a boat across the harbor and the wind's changing.
I think that's the sound. It's supposed to sound like that.
It's supposed to sound like the boat across the harbor having a party. I hear it now.
It's keyboards, man. It's just keyboards. But yeah, there we go. There you go. There's your sweet little taste of, what was it again? Astro-Nubian electronic Jagarla dance sounds from the Aga Underground. Check it out if you want to get on a frenzy with some keyboards onto this day in history.
Have to shorten that to an acronym or something.
All right. No, there's JD. I can't know. There's no way you can make that into a word.
Make it into a cute name. All right, well, this day in history. In 1580, after nearly 3 years at sea, English Admiral Francis Drake arrived in Plymouth Harbor, England, completing his circumnavigation of the globe. 1580. 1687, on this day, during the bombardment of the Acropolis by Venetian forces, which we were there last year.
And we also talked about that while we were there. That's actually when it got the most destroyed.
So this day in 1687, during the bombardment of the Acropolis by Venetian forces, part of the Parthenon was destroyed by a powder explosion. In 1815, the Holy Alliance of Russia, Austria, and Prussia was formed after the final defeat of Napoleon. In 1820, American frontiersman and hero Daniel Boone died in St. Charles, Missouri. In 1898, George Gershwin, one of the most significant and popular American composers, was born. And this day in 1962, the American TV series The Beverly Hillbillies debuted on CBS, becoming one of the most popular sitcoms of the 1960s. And this day in 1969, the Beatles released Abbey Road, their last recorded album, although Let It Be was released a year later, was recorded a year earlier. So 1969, Abbey Road was released on day also in 1969. On this day, the Brady Bunch premiered on ABC. So the Brady Bunch and Abbey Road had the same birthday. 2008, American actor Paul Newman, whose striking good looks and compelling performances made him one of Hollywood's most popular leading men, died at the age of 83, but still buy his spaghetti sauce. 2019, and it all goes to charity, by the way. Good guy, Paul Newman. 2019, French politician Jacques Chirac, who served as president of France from 1995 to 2007, died at the age of 86. Served for 12 years. And also, this featured event this day in history, the first televised U.S. presidential debate. That's right. The first in a series of historic debates between John F. Kennedy, U.S. Senator, and Vice President Richard M. Nixon was broadcast on this day in 1960. And also, a feature biography is T.S. Eliot, a distant cousin of ours. T.S. Eliot, born in St. Louis, Missouri, and was born on this day, September 26, 1880. Also, birthdays today, Serena Williams was born in 1981. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister of India, was born in 1932. 1898 was the birthday of George Gershwin, which we already covered. We already covered T.S. Eliot, so why are they doing this twice? 1889 was the birthday of Martin Heidegger, a German philosopher. So those are your important days of note. And what else? What day is it today? It is National Compliance Officer Day. So the compliance officer is that person who's always making sure you're doing your job or something. I'm not sure, but it's their day. National Situational Awareness Day, which we covered earlier. Be aware of this. Is a picture of somebody snatching somebody's purse while they're on the bench, a park bench, looking at their phone.
Yeah.
Guy walks up, snatches their purse. Yep. Situational awareness. If you're at a bus stop, don't be looking at your phone all the time. Johnny Appleseed Day. It's National Johnny Appleseed Day. A lot of people think he's a mythical character, but he's actually a real person. John Chapman or something like that. He's actually related to us too. Or related to him and T.S. Eliot. National Pancake Day. National Pancake Day, so that's a good day. National Shamu the Whale Day. Shamu, the big killer whale. It's his day. Shamu the whale. Aren't whales called? What are they called? What are they called? Shamus? What's their classical term or whatever you want to call it? Anyway, it's National Dumpling Day. Okay.
Dumpling.
It's National Dumpling Day and it's National Pancake Day. So it's like food you made with your excess scraps day. That's the origination of all those, right? What do we got? We got flour and eggs and sugar. Make pancakes. Okay.
Pancakes.
What do we got? We got flour, eggs, and sugar. Make dumplings. Same thing. Well, you don't put sugar in dumplings, though, unless you want to. All right, that's it. The National Day calendar. It's over.
Okay, well that's gonna be me, Allison, here from the Netherlands on Good News Tuesday, celebrating how everything isn't so bad in the world, especially if you have your unique Sudanese keyboard music to go freak out on. And we'll see you tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday.
Okay, and of course we have good news today. We have coffee grounds and bats. So, this is Roger saying goodbye for National Situational Awareness Pancake, September 26th. 2023 edition of Before Coffee. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.